Are y'all still even together?
What do you mean?
See, I knew you were gonna do this.
No, what do you mean?
Well, a lot of people would attest that Adam was a big reason to why you started getting so much seat time.
Just to clarify, like that is what you do. If you want to get in drifting, like the first thing I tell anyone is to get a stock 350Z and get seat time.
So would you have been in FD probably 2 years ago then, if it wasn't for?
I have to be driven by a goal and a mission. So like if I'm gonna get into drifting, I wanna do it at the highest level. Like I wanna be pushed. I feel like the only way to be the best is to learn from the best and drive with the best.
Do you still think after being a full year in that the E46 is the chassis to go with?
It was a lot more natural for me to adapt to than the Corvette. Driving a Corvette almost made me want to quit drifting.
I've been wanting this shit forever. I've been in the field with whatever they throw at me. Brush it off, pick myself up, moving on to the better. Hey. Ain't no errors, baby, it's a new era.
Welcome back to the Circle Drift podcast. Thanks to all of you that stop in every single week for a brand new episode. And today we are back at Formula Drift Long Beach at the Shoreline Showdown, hitting a podcast that you guys have been asking for a very long time, Collete Davis, where we'll get into the obvious that has been going on recently, but we get into a lot of her Formula Drift season and plenty of other stuff as well. But look, I know a lot of you guys are either coming from her audience or you're looking to get into drifting or maybe just further your skill level, and sim drifting has obviously been one of the best ways to do that in the past few years and probably in the future. So lucky for you guys, this show is presented by Sim HQ, so you can always save 5% off on your next order. Never pay full price if you don't have to, so I'll leave that code in the description. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get in the podcast. Well, we are back here at Long Beach for FD, and we have quite the new face, Collete Davis. How are we doing today?
Doing good. Just got in off a plane from Texas and straight here, and I'll be in California for the next 3 weeks.
No shit.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you probably got Prisma event next?
Yep, next weekend. Are you gonna be there?
No, I'm sadly not.
I got Prisma event next weekend, then Hot Pit, then straight into SEMA.
Oh
then
shit,
I go
yeah.
home for a little bit. So.
Damn. Wow, you're busy as hell. Well, you just dealt with quite the catastrophe trying to get here, so you gonna explain a little bit of what happened?
Well, my rig and car have been in Vegas since the last round in Utah, and we kind of flew home with the truck keys. So weren't able to really get the truck in until this morning, but hey, we're here.
Quite a unique situation.
It all worked out, and now we're ready to go.
Yeah. So you're here for fitment, right?
I'm just here with my car and my booth out here meeting some people.
Oh, you got your own booth, okay.
Yeah, doing some meet and greets here with like a few partners as well and just hanging out. Like it's the first time they're doing this round, so I couldn't miss it, you know?
That's fair, yeah. Well, obviously, we got to talk about FD. How was the season for you so far? Oh, I guess now that it's closed.
Dude, first season of Formula Drift was wild. To say the least. You know, looking back on it now, I wouldn't change anything, you know, now that I'm on the other side of it.
Really?
You know what, it's crazy. I am a true believer in everything happens for a reason, no matter what. The worst things, the best things, like it all happens for a reason. And in this first season, I learned so much. You know, we assembled a team that had never worked together as a team before. It went incredible. Like we now have a brand new chassis because second round our chassis got totaled, which was not fun. But hey, now we know that we can rebuild a car from the ground up in 11 days. So a lot of lessons learned, and now we're going into the next season with a new chassis. So there's a bright side.
Well, you got bullied this year though. Like absolutely bullied on track.
Bullied to say the least. Yeah, but you know what? It toughened us up, and I think we proved that we're here, we belong here. You know, we had one of the fastest cars on grid. I learned a lot myself just being in an E46. You know, really it was my first year in a new chassis, new team, new series. You know, there was a lot of firsts, and I think to be competitive right off the bat, like prove we belong and be fighting for Rookie of the Year going into the last round was great. You know, obviously I always want more. I always want to be better. And it was a tough way to end the season, not getting Rookie of the Year and being so close. But now that I can take a step back, I appreciate what we did and all the experiences that we had.
That's good.
So,
well, it seemed to be substantial, especially being a first year type of situation. Do you still think after being a full year in, that the E46 is the chassis to go with?
I really like the E46.
But why?
For me, it was a lot more natural for me to adapt to than the Corvette. I like having the trailing arm. I like that I can have my car fully gripped up and still follow like a stock 350Z. And it has really, really nice float off throttle, and it's a rocket ship when you're on throttle. So like having those different tools in your toolbox for competition have been really, really cool. With the Corvette, it's on a knife edge all the time. Like you have to be fully committed or off, and then when you're making corrections by somebody else, it's very easy to straighten and kind of get out of that very narrow box of driving a Corvette.
Yeah.
And it just never clicked for me, honestly. Like driving a Corvette almost made me want to quit drifting.
Really?
Yeah.
That's totally flip-flop from what everyone says.
So it's a great platform, right? Like if you're just staying into competition, it's obviously comes with LS. Like it's great. Especially if you do a conversion and get the torque tube out of there and do a front mount transmission.
Right.
Like mine, we did that. I had a dog box in it, but I just didn't like how the box between forward and side bite is so narrow. Like that car wants to go straight so badly. And I struggled, in competition. I was able to podium in some pro-ams, but I always felt as a driver that I wasn't connected to the car. It could be a combination of the handling characteristics from my driving style. It could be how low you're sitting. The visibility is very different as well.
That's true, yeah.
It's just a bunch of things that for me, it didn't click. But, there are some people that get in them and do so well. I'm not a Corvette driver, and that's okay.
You go sit in Hurst's car in the XLR, and the doors are even worse. They're so much higher than the Corvette.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine. Anyways.
But some people love them. I'm not hating on it. For me, I drove the car for 3 years in a couple different versions. Like at first it was mostly stock, and then ended up being basically almost a full pro car. And my first time in an E46, I was obsessed. Like everything clicked a lot faster for me. I like the different tools and characteristics of the chassis more, and I'm really, really excited to continue to learn. There's so much left on the table with that chassis that going into next season, I'm even more excited because I know how much more competitive we can be.
What are you going to change?
I don't even have a rear grip kit in the rear right now. I'm going to put the WiseFab one on, really work on setup and development with that, work on my driving style. Really just push the limits as much as possible. There's so much to do. The motto for this season, my first ever season Formula Drift, was keep it simple. There's so many things as a driver that I need to do better, from actual driving, but also your mental state, everything. You're going through so much going into FD that I wanted my car to be as simple as possible. We have one-way shocks on the car too, very simple BC Racing suspension setup, nothing complex. And it was just to focus on myself and getting used to everything that goes on in FD. So there is so much room to grow and push on the chassis side for 2026, and that's what we're gonna do.
Well, that'd be good to see.
Yeah.
I did not realize you didn't have a grip kit in the rear. That's almost
No.
I feel like mandatory nowadays for FD cars.
Yeah, I think we were definitely gripping the car up, right? Just playing with tire pressures. I was probably running on the lower side compared to most people, and I just think if you can handle it and you can make it work, why not? It is sometimes a little riskier too, and can mess you up in certain situations, but I am going into FD to push myself. That's why I'm here. I want to be as competitive as possible, and there's still a lot for me to learn, but we're definitely going to be going for it. And the championship is the goal. I'm not trying to rush into Pro 1. I think I see a lot of people do that, and I don't really understand it.
I don't either.
But I think getting comfy in Pro Spec, that's why the series exists, and being competitive is the goal.
So what made you originally even want to do FD? Because I've seen you from back in the day where you were struggling with three-rotor cars and never could get seat time. So, where did the FD dream come from?
For me, if I was going to get involved with drifting, Formula Drift was the goal, right? I started in go-karts. My background is in professional racing on the open wheel sports car side of things. I have to be driven by a goal and a mission. So like if I'm going to get into drifting, I want to do it at the highest level. Like I want to be pushed. I love that. I love challenges. I love like seeing how far you can go and the team can go, and having that goal is what really motivates me. And I feel like the only way to be the best is to learn from the best and drive with the best. So I think Formula Drift is the great platform to do that. You know, I've been competing all over the world the past like 2 years, just trying to get as much competition seat time as possible, because I knew everything would be leveled up once I stepped into Formula Drift.
Why not like Drift Masters or something like that? Obviously, I know it's overseas, a little more expensive, but does the competitiveness not match here?
I would love to do Drift Masters one day. You know, I think if the opportunity came up, it'd be really cool, especially to do the event like Poland, where there's over 50,000 people in a stadium. Like even just the energy from that would be so awesome. And I want to compete everywhere. You know, that's kind of what I've been learning as well, doing competitions in different countries. I think it's helped me adapt to different vehicles faster. Drift Masters is a whole different ballgame though too. You know, like the tire over there is just so wildly different that it changes everything. So, you know, for me, having my car, my team, everything based here, with Formula Drift Pro 1 being the ultimate goal, you know, it made the most sense to kind of focus on this program. And my partners are here too.
What have you noticed outside of like the car and setup and all that? What have you noticed? A part of a program is probably the most important when it comes to doing professional driving.
I think the most important part of a program is the team, man, and like the people around you.
Like what about the team though?
Team dynamic and
that,
being
you know?
able to rely on your team and get through really, really low, stressful times. Like when we realize in New Jersey, you know, that like my car is on a wall. Like we just got totaled, and my team didn't give up. Like that thing was coming in on the flatbed, and they're all ready. Like, what are we doing to get you back on track?
Wrenches in
Yeah,
hand.
we're literally
Like-
ready to go. And like, I was so defeated at the time, and I think that moment of just seeing how everyone came together and rallied and didn't give up after something that dramatic happening, like that is what really matters, and that's what you want in a team. And in addition to my team, it was like Dimitri and his team came over, which by the way, I was battling Dimitri next. If my car had gotten fixed, and here Dimitri is offering me parts off his car so that I could make it to the next round. And that's drifting, you know? Like no other motorsport would that happen, like in serious, like sports car racing. And that was obviously a not great moment for my entire season. It really hurt us, especially going into the last round with points. But that feeling and those experiences, going through that with people and coming back from that is so important. And right after that, my team's like, okay, what's our plan? And we were already making the plan. How are we gonna get a new chassis? What's the timeline? My spotter, Michael, he's gonna be flying to Florida and staying there for the 2 weeks to get it done. Like it was just looking around me in that moment and seeing the amazing people that I have, the support I have, like that is so crucial to getting through this season, especially with how much stuff went down, that it would not have been possible without the team.
Especially doing it on the test day right before.
What do you mean?
Because didn't you wad it up just on a test day
That was-
right before that?
Yeah, that was even before. So before we went into E-Town,
That was
we
the same
had a
side of
crash
the car,
as well.
wasn't it?
Yeah, but so before E-Town, I was testing at E-Town because I'd never driven that chassis there. And I had a big crash. And you know what is so sad about it? I said one more time. I said one more lap.
Oh,
I'm gonna do
yeah,
one
don't
more
do
lap,
that.
she said. Big crash.
Yep.
And
Well,
it was
you
it
learned
was
your
really
lesson.
it was really dumb. First of all, never say, I'm gonna do it one more time. You don't say that in drifting, okay? You say, I'm gonna do a few more, and then you come in early.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go back out.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back out. So I was testing at E-Town. I really only got 2 laps on a set of tires.
Oh,
At
that was
E-Town,
it.
2 laps only. But I'm like, my second lap, I did a chase. It was my first chase on our test day, and I'm like, oh, I have a little more tire left.
Yeah.
You know, what does a tire look like? And I was gonna just do one more entry. Like practice the entry, get on the wall. You'll
Shut
be
it down
fine.
at
Shut it
2.
down. Yeah. Of course, I practiced the entry. I was on the wall and totaled that half of the car.
You don't
That-
have good look at that track at all. Even in the vet.
Even the
you
vet.
wadded it up in
I
turn
know,
2.
but it's crazy because that was my favorite round of this year.
How?
Was at E-Town. I felt
the hurricanes or whatever.
Yeah, we had a hurricane come through or a tornado come through. I got totaled and punted into a wall, and I also crashed my car there 2 weeks before. But the crash 2 weeks before was just me, dumb. I shouldn't have done another lap. There was not enough tire. Literally went to initiate into the wall. Got the car fixed. It honestly wasn't that bad from that crash, even though that one looked worse. But that side of the car was already previously totaled like 3 times before I bought it. So doing that, and then our big hit in competition at E-Town, just the chassis was done. Like
it was totally mangled at that point.
Transmission tunnel, pushed in, pedals, everything up by my feet. Like it was really, really bad. But my favorite round was E-Town this year. I think
that's incredible.
I just unlocked something in the car in Chase where I was able to be right on people, like on their door. My confidence was through the roof. Like I really pushed myself there and felt so good in the car. So unfortunately, our night ended a bit early, but that was still my favorite event.
You made it back though.
Yeah.
Made it back.
Yeah.
Now that there's some speculation on some tracks being changed out next year, so if there was one that you could get rid of now that you've been through a full season, which would it be?
You know, everyone says Utah, and going into Utah, I was so nervous. It's like, oh, everyone hates this track. It's going to be so hard. I loved it. I had such a good time there. It is the first time that I've just been able to have such high wheel speed. We're running like maybe 123 miles per hour wheel speed, like gnarly. And just the feeling of being flat out on limiter, and then transition flat again. Like it's the sickest feeling ever. And I really enjoyed it. I didn't have as good luck in competition for a few different reasons, but I really like the track. But if I had to get rid of one, it'd probably be Utah, but I had a great time.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Favorite, but you still get rid of it? Everyone says OSW.
It was a really cool feeling. Well, for Pro Spec, we didn't go there.
That's true.
But
that's true.
on the full season, probably OSW. Like if I was in Pro 1, maybe. It's also like the weather in Florida, and it's just humid and raining all the time during that time of year.
It was the worst event for me too. My canopies blew away and shit.
Yeah.
Oh, you know. Yeah, we were right next to you. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, we don't have to talk about that. Well, how are things at the compound at the moment? I've got to talk about some of this stuff. So.
Well, yeah. What do you want to know?
So obviously, the elephant in the room.
What's that?
I don't think you and Adam have publicly announced anything, but are y'all still even together?
What do you mean?
See, I knew you were gonna do this.
No. What do you mean?
Are y'all together?
Well, like together, like what do you mean?
Are y'all in a relationship still?
No.
How can?
No, absolutely not. And we did like make a post about it a while ago, but it wasn't some big whole thing. We haven't been for a while, actually.
I kind of figured that.
Yeah, I know, it's weird. Everyone's just like, you look so much happier. I'm like, you're so right. So that's my shop is still my shop, and I will be staying in the area. I found an amazing spot that I'm moving into towards the end of the year. So
nice. Is it not awkward still being around and stuff? Like, is it?
It's not for me, I'm kind of just doing my thing. It's all you can do, So just doing my thing. I've always done my stuff on my own, and everything's been separate, thank goodness. So yeah, going into the season, just still working with my team and focusing on my goals that I've always had.
Good.
So.
I like that you tried to separate yourself as much as, even when y'all were together.
Yeah.
Your videos always seemed separate. It wasn't ever a correlation between the two channels or anything like that. So
yeah,
that's really just giving you a little props on that part.
Yeah, and my shop has been totally separate. Like my team is separate. My cars are separate. So it that I'm very thankful for, especially now. But like I said, I think everything happens for a reason. I honestly wouldn't change anything.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Do you think you'd be here if it wasn't for the help? Because, the only reason I bring it up is, I said, I've seen you in the three-rotor stage. of just never getting seat time in
Well,
California.
I wasn't really
so,
focused on it, right? So like
yeah.
when building, I would say it was like building one of my cars for about 8 years, because like building cars is what started my YouTube channel. I started building it and I was like, oh, everyone's gonna hate on this girl putting like glitter all over her car and like painting my car pink, but the feedback online was actually really positive, and I started wanting to build a drift car because I didn't get to work on cars anymore, like racing for other teams professionally. When I did monster trucks, you don't touch the trucks. You come, you're a driver, that's your only job. Same in sports cars, we weren't getting hands-on anymore. So I wanted to get into drifting as more of like a hobby, just to get involved again and kind of like express myself more in a build where I couldn't do that for professional teams I was racing for. So the three-rotor RX-7 journey just ended up being so much longer of a process because I was never focused on it. So when the world shut down, I was actually able to focus more on drifting, on content, on actually getting seat time. So I kind of say that I've only been focused on drifting and getting seat time and experience for the past like 5-ish years, which is pretty new, compared to, I guess, most people that are doing it or in Formula Drift now. But the opportunity sort of just happened when other racing series weren't happening. And so.
Well, a lot of people would, I'm sure you've seen it in your comments, would attest that Adam was a big reason to why you started getting so much seat time. You got a Z and like you did almost the same road as him, which I get from a viewer,
like
it looks
everyone.
like that, but it's everyone.
That, just to clarify, like that is what you do. If you want to get in drifting, like the first thing I tell anyone is to get a stock 350Z and get seat time. For me, I had been building this car but didn't have enough time to actually focus on a crazy build. And also, you shouldn't do that. Don't make a mistake. Don't try and build something crazy. get a stock 350Z, focus on seat time. I actually had one in California as well that I was like getting seat time in every now and then.
Oh, the Vert, the convertible, right?
Yeah, I had that car. So, timing ends up being very similar. I've known all these people in Formula Drift for like a decade now. Like I remember talking to Jim Law being like, hey, I'm gonna be in FD one day, 7-8 years ago, and I hadn't even like started a build yet, or I just started one. So like this has been on my radar for a long time. When I started actually building cars, that made it more possible for me, because I feel like drifting is one of the only professional motorsports at the highest level where you could actually build your car in your garage and compete here. Maybe if you're not a bigger team, you won't be as competitive. But at the time, I was racing in all these professional series where I was like, I could never build an open wheel car in my garage and actually take it to the top. So the idea of being able to start a build and take it all the way to Formula Drift if I wanted was really attractive to me about Formula Drift. So it's always been on my radar. If I do something, I'm gonna do it 100% on my own. And like, sure, maybe being on the inside of a different team maybe help, but like, I know all these guys. I know the RTR guys. I've known Rad Dan, Chris Forsberg. They were like some of the first people that drove my car when it was really sketchy at Willow Springs, like years and years ago. So I've always been around. If anything, I could say all the other stuff was a bit more of a distraction. Like the past many years, I was not focusing on my stuff. And coming into this year, I was very much supporting another team and focusing on their things and kind of letting more of my goals fall. So I feel like if anything, it might have, there's pros and cons to everything.
So would you have been in FD probably 2 years ago then, if it wasn't for?
I don't know how to answer that. Like, who knows? Maybe if I had more seat time, if I was able to focus on like growing my team more, maybe. Yeah. But like I said, I believe everything happens for a reason. I think the timing happens as it should. But would I maybe have competed more, done more of my own things? Maybe.
Yeah.
But who knows? Like, I'm here now. So I'm just excited to continue to grow my team, develop the chassis, and just continue to learn as much as possible.
Well, good.
Yeah.
Well, it seems to be working so far. The content's been really good, which I don't know where she went, but shout out to her.
Yeah, dude, Victoria coming on the team has been so amazing. Like, I've always kind of done a little bit of everything, and it gets hard to keep up sometimes when you're running the shop, the back end, the partnerships, the videoing yourself, then doing the editing, but then you still need to be a driver. So that
You
was
still need to fix the broken car.
still need to like fix the broken cars, which, you know, a lot of now the cars I'm working on are not the main comp car. You know, I want someone better, smarter, more experienced than me touching any pro car that I'm going to be competing in. I'll help out, of course. Like, there was all hands on deck when we rebuild the thing. But having Victoria on board to like do video and run everything and be a part of the team has been so amazing. And she's capturing a lot of the vibes in the shop. Like when we did that rebuild, there's no way we would have captured the craziness and the behind the scenes if it was just me, because I was in it. So usually like we do all this work and I try and do like, hey guys, this is an update, but she was there like getting all the emotions and the roller coaster ride of everything, and it's been really amazing. So, oh, and I did shut down the rumors too. If you know, I don't know if you heard any.
I mean, I've heard some, but just give her hell.
No, we're not together.
Yeah.
Yeah, Victoria and I are not together. And I honestly, I kind of just want to keep rolling with it.
I kind of thought that was just dumb. I thought that was just satire or something.
I love it, and I think it's so funny. I would much rather those be the comments of me and Victoria having this secret relationship than any other random guy that is shown in my video for 2 seconds and is like, oh, for sure. But she's with him for sure. I'm like,
well, everyone's doing it on both sides too. Like there was some picture that Adam was with one of the race trades girls, an umbrella girl, and they were speculating on that. And I'm like, that's just her job, isn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, same concept. That's funny though. I thought that was total satire. I didn't think that was real.
I would be like, Victoria, let's own this, but it's so funny.
You should have done a whole intro to a video of just playing into it. I
have her sometimes like, you know, call me daddy, and I'm like, hey, like leave that in there, like just as a little like a mistake, you know, and just leave it in there, and just like people keep commenting about it, but I think it's funny. I don't mind. So yeah, I know what, actually, maybe we are together.
Oh, keep the speculation going then.
Yeah, you know what? We don't know. I don't think it's time to announce anything. But she's gonna kill me. She's gonna kill me.
Yeah. Jesus.
Anyway, I think it's great. But it is when she comes back here, you should mention it.
You should pull her over onto the podcast before we finish. Hey, by the way, clarify something.
She's had some people that are like in FD too ask, but in a serious way, like being nice, and she's like, what about this screams that? She's like, I've worked for so many different guys and I've always been able to avoid any rumor like that. And then I worked with a girl who was like my safe space, and now all the rumors are there.
You're just blown out.
It's pretty great. We were actually...
Sorry, we just made it worse for you probably, but...
You know, we were walking down the street in Australia, and some guy was like hitting on us, trying to get our attention. I'm just like walking. And finally, he like tries 3 different things. The first thing is just like the name. Second one's like, I need to ask you a question. And that didn't work. And then the third one was like, oh, I did it. I respect it. You guys are together. Yeah. I did it. That worked on Victoria. She turns around and she's like,
the attention real quick.
Yeah, because it's just a thing now that keeps coming up. So it's like so funny to see her get triggered by it. And she's like, wait a minute, what about us gives that? Like, who's the day one? It's definitely her, right?
Yep.
Because I was wearing a red Adidas pants with like a leather jacket thing, but it was like
you were playing the part.
It was definitely me. I was definitely giving like sporty spice, maybe a little butch, and Victoria had to confirm with the guy. She was like, "It's her, right?"
Oh, anyways, we don't have to keep on that road. What wheels do you run on your car?
I run the KMPs Hyper Silvers on my Hyundai Elantra.
On a Elantra?
Yeah, dude.
Hell yeah.
I have the tandems, chrome, all chrome. That's it. That's all I rock.
I have actually Kansai off-roads.
E92 is going to be the Kansai 7s. The G37 is the Astros.
See, I'm trying to get them pros KMPs. It'd be sick.
It's not possible yet. We can't do it yet, man.
I got a pair of some Kansai Corsas. They're, I guess, maybe old school because you don't see them around, but I let my teammate borrow them like 3 years ago, and they're still on his car, so.
What would you say is the worst finish or color for any wheel?
Ooh, I would say black wheels, honestly, because it just feels like I'm looking at a Steely.
Black. I hate black. You cannot show the wheel. You cannot appreciate how it looks, and you cannot see what wheel you have at night. My point is to flex my wheel, so I have chrome on it.
Black. Black with like machines.
Black wheels. Black wheels they just kill, man. It's so hard to make a black wheel like pop. It blends, and then tires, like, it just makes one black blob. Don't do black wheels.
I'm gonna say matte black. If I had to pick.
Take it.
I'm waiting for you to say chrome.
You know this one.
Black.
My man.
Actually, I gotta call myself out because if you're gonna go to my Instagram, I'm literally running black Graham lights on the front right
All
now.
right, we gotta go, man. So you also gonna stay in Florida though?
Yeah, so my parents are in Florida, and I went to college in Daytona Beach. You know, I think my team is there, or like half of my team. So I think for the next year at least, it makes the most sense. And I do like Florida. It's humid and gross often, but when you're used to that, anywhere else you go is so nice.
Oh yeah,
So-
feels amazing after that. Except for
Yeah.
St. Louis. St. Louis is fucking miserable every time.
Yeah, I still think Florida's worse
Well,
at times,
I
but
mean, yeah.
St. Louis is up there. Honestly, if we go back to getting rid of a round,
That's a good choice,
yeah,
too.
Actually, I go back. I changed my answer. If we're getting rid of a round, it would probably be St. Louis. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah.
Well, why not? Obviously, we're in California, so why not California? Because that's where you were beforehand.
I think it's just crazy out here, man. Like to come back out to California, like just it doesn't make sense in any way, except for the weather and the vibes. That is almost it. But like financially, car regulations, like in every other way, like what you can get square footage wise for a shop, for land, for property. Because I'm still up in the air of like if I wanted it. I was originally going to get land, have a shop, like try and make a little mini tract, and then now I'm like I don't want to make any big decisions for a year. I want to get a shop and then like explore all options. But I do like Florida. I love the drift community that is like growing so fast in Florida. You know, like the Denofas are down there, Rad Dan's down there, the Taxi Garage guys are there. So it's a really cool community, and I just know so many people there. You know, and all the Drift HQ fam, they're all there. So right now it's Florida. I don't know about forever.
I feel like it's
but-
just such a lack of really good tracks in Florida that makes it hard. And you're in the corner.
It's hard anywhere, really. Like, at least we have Leadfoot City, which, yes, it's like a giant skid pad, but they have some magical pavement that, for whatever reason, there's testing that translates to some other tracks. It's incredible. So hard to translate. Like, you set up a car there and there's to some other tracks versus like the OSW skid pad, it's pretty hard to translate. Like, you set up a car there and there's just no grip. So I love it. Like, that's an option to always test. And if we go anywhere else, you're always loading a trailer and like driving there anyway, you know? So I don't mind too much. There's a lot of competitions though, like up and down the coast between clutch kickers. I have the Pro-Am. There's some other really good events that, you know, Pro-Am, Pro Spec, Pro 1 even level cars will be at. And there's good drivers. You know, if I want to go test with Rad Dan, like I can. So yeah, we'll see. Right now, my truck and trailer and car have been based in Vegas. So I'll be there for like a week or two and see if I like the area. But that would be a really big move. So I don't know.
So you said Vegas would be a move?
So my rig and everything is at the Sorensons since Utah. So I didn't want to go back home and then come back here for next weekend Prisma. Then I'm doing Hot Pit Vegas.
I thought
But
you said you would move to Vegas, though.
if I had to move anywhere else outside of Florida, I think it would be Texas or Las Vegas. I don't know where in Texas.
Wow.
But
Vegas, I don't see
Vegas.
that. That's crazy to me.
But at
I
least
don't know
in-
how the Sorensons do it.
at least in Vegas, you get kind of the California weather, but more of like Florida laws-ish, you know, and like vibes. So, and you're close enough to California. Like, I love coming here, but I don't have to live here. So, there's also good tax incentives in Vegas. you know?
I have really good tax incentives in Tennessee.
Yeah.
Like
oh yeah.
no state income tax and
I was
all
about to say,
sorts of
Tennessee
shit.
is probably number 1 for taxes.
I don't know if it's number 1. It definitely top 5.
It's up there. Yeah.
But yeah.
I didn't know you were in Tennessee.
Yep.
Where at?
I'm in Shelbyville. It's about an hour south of Nashville.
Okay.
So.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. For
Good
now,
central location.
definitely Florida for the next year at least.
Well, I want to ask about the rotary car because you just posted about that recently too. Is that you gonna start dabbling back into that?
Yeah, so I launched my first Hot Wheels this year with Hot Wheels, and it's of the three-rotor R7. So it's available all over the world. I see people tag me in it and find it in like Malaysia or Australia or Japan. Like it's the coolest thing ever.
That's like a car person's dream.
It has been something we've been working on for. I think my first collaboration with Hot Wheels was in like 2018 at SEMA. I actually debuted the three-rotor RX-7 there with them, but it was like version 1, right? And it was the build was not done, but we made it to SEMA, and that was the first version of the car. And when I started building it, they didn't make an actual Rocket Bunny kit because I like that style, but it wasn't a real kit. And now they have the real Pan Am kit. So this past year, we completely rebuilt my first ever drift car from the ground up, new chassis, acid stripped, powder coated it ourselves, like ground up build with Drift HQ, like all new fab, same heart, like same engine, and we moved some of the parts over. But we wanted to kind of revitalize that car and what that meant to coincide with the launch of the new Hot Wheels. So the new Hot Wheels does have the Rocket Bunny Pan Am kit on it. It's the upgraded version of my original car that kind of started my channel and started my dive into, the car build world and side of things. And it was definitely a huge goal and project with Hot Wheels that launched this year. So now that we have that car, I want to do some competitions with it. The pro car, I need and want a lot of seat time in it, but I do want another car that is, somewhat competitive. Obviously it's more of like a flashy car, but get that car as competitive as possible if there's other competitions and like the pro car is gone.
That'd be cool. I didn't realize it would be a comp car in a sense.
Oh yeah, when we rebuilt it, we built it to Formula Drift spec.
Yeah.
So, and we were talking about that a lot in our videos. So everyone thought I was going to come into Formula Drift with the three-rotor R7, which would be cool.
Pretty sick.
It would be pretty sick. I would want a little more power, but it would be cool. And the seat time as well. Like they're both trailing arm cars. I haven't done a lot of development on the RX-7 yet because we really just now been driving it since like the full rebuild, but I love that car. It's always going to be one of my favorites, and I'm excited to have like a brand new version of it now that I've learned so much since I first started building it.
Yeah. I love hearing it. The thing's fucking insane. Any rotary, really, but it's how different does it actually feel? It looks like the torque is just astronomical compared to, say, your JZ E46.
My 2JZ is the best engine and package that I've ever had. 100%. Like what is in my pro car right now, like working with BC on that engine build and RS Garage, like Jay is just a genius, and it was so cool to actually be there when we were building that engine that I hate to even say this because I feel like I am the rotary girl, but I am now also 100% sold on JZ platform. Like on any other car that I build, if it's for competition or reliability, I think the JZ checks all the boxes. Like the torque from it, even without, if my nitrous goes out, it's still so easy to drive. And just the power, like how much power we're making so easily. Like it was one of the best experiences I had was setting up a high horsepower comp car. But the three-rotor, it's just a feeling and an experience, Like my first ever car was an RX-8, and I still have, same engine, still have to this day, never had problems with it. I'm also half Puerto Rican, and I didn't know that rotaries were a Puerto Rican thing until after I'd already gotten my car, and then I found out that, I didn't have a choice. Like this life chose me.
Yeah, it was bound to happen.
I had no choice in the matter, so like it's in my blood. I will always be a rotary girl. And with that, over the years, you've gone through some trauma. That's kind of part of it, but it's more of you do it for the love of rotary engines, and I just love how unique they are. I think it's a kind of a dying art in a way, and I don't want it to die. So I will suffer through some of the trauma that it's taken to go down that path. But at the end of the day, I love the way they feel. I love the way they sound. It's just a different driving experience.
I could imagine. I've got one, an FC sitting in my driveway that I haven't touched. It's been sitting there for probably 3 years now. The FC, 3 years.
Yeah.
It's 113,000 miles on it. Still got everything from the factory,
Oh, that's
but it
so
just doesn't
good.
get spark, and I just don't have time to mess with it. But it's like one of my dream cars, so it's
Yep.
just like I'll mess with you when I can.
Yeah.
Just want to. So I get it.
Eventually, I
Sort
would
of.
like to have a street one. You know, like I've only built drift cars or like project thrash cars. Like I had gotten 2 more FC shells to do a street build this past year, but we didn't have time because the concept of building something and it not really getting destroyed immediately is so new to me because I've never taken the time to do a nice street car. So that's definitely a goal and on the list for me.
Or have the comfort and the people to repair it for you.
Yeah.
As soon as you get back to the pits.
Yeah, so I feel like a lot of people get on me for being too extra with cars. You know, like on the S15, I powder coated every single arm and piece underneath the car, even though it's a drift car. But like aesthetics have always meant so much to me. Like for me, it's part of the entire experience of cars for me. You know, it's not for everyone, but aesthetics are a huge part of it. Like even my car in Japan, I needed it to be pink. Like that is part of my
Sometimes it looks
experience.
red on camera.
I know. I know.
That's got to be irritating.
Well, and then after I got my JZX 100, then Samet got one and painted it pink. But his pink is kind of better of a pink, and I'm like, dang, dude, how are you gonna do that to me? But like,
One-upped you.
it's still, even in the photos, even when you crash it, you're going through all the motions, like it just looking aesthetically more how I would want it just makes the whole experience mean more to me. I don't know how to explain it, but it's super important to me, and that's why even on the drift cars, I'm a little extra. I throw a little more
I
sauce
think you
on
get it either way. If you didn't put the effort into it, you'd still get shit for that.
Yeah.
So
you know?
like, plus drifting is an aesthetic sport, so why not make your car look good? I preach it, but I could go on all day about that.
Well, I think like cars, especially when you're so involved with building them, it's an expression of yourself. It's an extension of you, at least for how I want to build them. And I'm still just living out, you know, my dream of when I was a little girl playing with Hot Wheels. I'm just like, this is real life Hot Wheels stuff. Yeah. So like, why not make it fun and do what you want? So.
Damn right. Well, what about the S15? Where's that at? When's it coming back?
Speaking of
That's one of my favorite
rotary
ones.
trauma, well, it's my 13B S15. I took it to Drift Appalachia, which was so cool. But after the first session, I started having some engine issues, and I ended up losing a rotor. So I'm down a rotor. I have a second engine that we just haven't put in yet. But after that, we're gonna be out and ripping. I love that car so much.
Really?
Yeah.
How's it drive compared to like an SR S15? Because the whole less weight up front ordeal.
I actually had never driven an SR S chassis before I was just in Australia like 2 weeks ago. But I also didn't have the best experience in Australia, so I don't think that should count because the car had some issues. I also my seating position was weird, and I didn't get to do that many laps in it before I hopped in a chaser. So I don't feel like that was the best SR experience. I've also seen so many SRs around me just die, you know, and like I looked at that and I'm like, well, it seems just as risky as a rotary, so I'm just gonna go with what I know and put a 13B in it. So I don't really have anything to compare it to. The sounds are like really unique together, you know, if there's ever like a rotary and SR like drifting with each other, but yeah, I've never really had a proper SR S chassis experience yet, so I wouldn't know.
I'd be curious because the whole stipulation of it is, you know, just having less weight up front with the 4-cylinder compared to a JZ or something like that.
Well, a 13B is really light too.
That's what I'm saying.
You know,
it's even
like
lighter, isn't it?
Yeah, like when you get all the accessories and everything on, then we actually looked into this. It was pretty darn similar SR to 13B with everything. It wasn't. It was way closer than I thought. If you had your phone, you could look it up. So yeah, it was pretty similar. So I imagine it would feel almost the same, but because we did a plate, we like front plated it and mounted it in the car, the position of the engine might make it feel a bit different. Like, I don't know exactly where to measure like where the SR comes from. It's probably further forward because we have so much room in the front of my S15 just because of how we mounted the engine. But we originally had 13B DCT, which the DCT was chunkier and bigger than the engine. It was hilarious looking at it all assembled on the ground. Because it was like little tiny 13B and then like DCT.
Yeah, just a nub of an engine.
Basically, and that was, I went down that road because it looked like a good time. It was not a good time. It's not a good time. Got rid of it, had to hack up the whole firewall just to fit the thing, and ended up just putting a CDO9.
What is bad about the DCT?
Maybe it's different now, but we could not get a management system to control it well. Like the tuning of the dang transmission was always so finicky or like locking itself out. One time we couldn't even move the car because it just decided to erase itself and there was no tune on it to actually work properly. And then now you're dealing with that. Plus, rotaries are already finicky. So it's just like we got two high maintenance things together. And I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna get rid of this and go back old school. But even when there was some moments where the DCT did work and you were just always slightly disconnected. I think maybe for a street car or a drag car, it would be different. But like the slight delay in shifting from a DCT when you're in drift, I just didn't like it. Like as a driver, you feel so disconnected.
Almost too sim-like.
Yeah, and there was always a slight delay, even with like the best tuning. The 8HP is better. Like there's less of a delay on that one. So I think if I were to go back and try it all again, which I'm not, but I would go that route instead of the DCT.
Huh. Yeah, I wonder why those kind of just died after a while. They were a big thing for a second, and people, with Drift HQ and all, they were trying to figure it out.
Well, Duarte,
and then just nobody talked about it again.
Duarte is ripping in his, but he has the Supra transmission, so the 8HP, and that one they've gotten on a new management system. The shifting was always less of a delay than the DCT anyway, but he's got that thing pretty much dialed and ripping and looking great. So I just, after going through all of that, already with a new chassis, it being one of I probably put maybe the most money into a build than I ever had into that car with how nice we did it. Like the rebuild of the three-rotor car would be up there too. But I spent so much money on that car and making it nice and never being able to drive it for a year drove me crazy. So finally I was like, let's ditch the DCT. Now we're focusing on all the engine side of things. And I just didn't want to go down that path again. But
do you want to disclose how much it was?
Probably not.
No.
I don't even want to think about it, honestly, myself. But it was a lot.
How for, not to impede or anything, but how does funding work for you and your channel? It's do you rely heavily on monetization?
I would say obviously monetization, you rely on it to its extent, but because it's so up and down, I never want to only be counting on that, right? So ever since I've even, right out of go-karts, everything that I've done in racing has had to be sponsored. I've had to work with businesses and companies since I was 16 years old in order to chase this crazy dream of being a race car driver and now, being a professional drifter. So I've, from a young age, knew that I was getting into a rich man's sport. I don't come from money. My parents are in the military. They very much supported me and my dreams and told me I can do whatever I wanted to do, but I drugged them into motorsports. Okay, I was like, hey, Dad, at 15, can we go try this thing called go-kart racing? I really want to try it. It looks cool. We never watched racing. My first time in a go-kart, I was like, this is the best thing in the world. I'm going to figure out how to do this, no matter what. And I didn't even know, go-kart racing was an actual sport. I had to do all this bartering and got rid of my laptop in school to end up getting a go-kart. And it was just me and my dad figuring it out in go-karts for a while. And I made the transition to actual race cars really soon because I had to go out and get sponsorships. I had to figure out, okay, how can I support this business and help them achieve their goals by supporting me in racing? And I ended up getting a scholarship and starting college at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University in Daytona Beach when I was 16 years old. And that got me in a home of racing. You know, I moved to Daytona Beach at 16. I'm going to school for engineering. I'm surrounded by race teams and opportunity. And one of my first bigger partnerships was with my university to sponsor me, put me in a car, to then just creative ways to get in car, to get hands-on experience. I've always had to figure out creative ways to get in cars. And, you know, now, after having to do that for over a decade before social media was a thing, I've always been building my platform, even when it wasn't as much of a priority. So I would say it's easier now, and mostly what I rely on is my work with partners. You know, I've done TV hosting, I do like commercials, I have year-long, multi-year-long contracts with partners that I support and that are part of the program. So I would say that's where most of the business stuff comes from. And then YouTube is part of that. Like, I would definitely love to grow that, to rely on it more. But to me, it's just too much of something out of my control to put all your eggs in that basket. But continuing to grow all platforms is definitely helpful.
Yeah. I feel like everyone always just sees the social media side, so they don't really understand that a channel is not just a channel. There's so much extra shit that's involved in it. So as far as like gaining that monetary support from these companies, what's been like the most effective route to take for you, or that has worked? Like, do you just make decks, or do you just make relationships, or what, like?
Yeah, I mean, I think the most important thing for working with partners or going after sponsorships is asking questions and doing less talking and figuring out what their goals are, how can you support them, and how can you make yourself valuable. You know, yes, having a deck helps, but a deck is just the introduction, right? That's just maybe how you even get the meeting. You know, you need to prove that you're legit and have your stuff together and can present something and package something in a nice way. But at the end of the day, like, if you don't understand really what they're looking for out of a partnership, you're not going to guarantee that year 2, year 3, year 5 if you're not hitting what they care about. So I think just relationships, building the relationship, like getting a deep understanding of how you can support them, and over-delivering every time you can.
Mm-hmm. So how do you go from idea then to say, hey, I have this idea, how can I fit you in? Or like, how do you know that's what the company wants based off the idea you have?
I mean, usually you ask the company first what they want, right? So like.
But you got to have an idea of what company to ask first.
For
correct?
sure. So
like,
you know, there's a couple different approaches. Are you going after a company that's already involved in drifting? Or are you going after a company that has no idea what drifting is, and there's this whole new level of education you have to do with, okay, this is what I can offer you, this is a demographic, this is what the program looks like. Or if it's a company that is already involved with Formula Drift, like, they get it. They know the drill, and it's more about, hey, you need to ask, what do they actually care about? Are you hitting those goals with the people you're currently working with? And if they're already working with drivers or other race teams, ask them what's been really successful. Like, what do they love about what they're already doing, and what do they really not like? Because then in the same conversation, you can slip in where I can do this for you, you know, or like, we can do this differently. So it's tough because it's always a conversation. You know, if you really want to just have a long-term partnership and build that. But I mean, if you have an idea and you're pitching a company, just at that point, you just have to go for it, because you don't really know what they're looking for if you don't have info.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd say some of my best partnerships have been built over time, but it's a lot of times me checking in, even throughout the year, of like, are you happy with this? What should we do differently? Do you want to pivot this? And I hear it from a lot of people that are just like, oh, wow, like you're checking in a lot, and like, this is really great. You're right, we should do this. I haven't really thought about that, but like, it also just shows that you care and you're not just getting a check, you know? Yeah. So
the amount of times already I've had my point of contact be like, dude, thank you so much for checking back in. I totally forgot about this shit. It helps. Literally just a little bit of communication. So good information. As far as next year, who do you hope to be working with next year? Do you already have any plans on that?
Yeah, hopefully we'll be announcing partnerships for FD in December.
Okay.
That's the goal. So maybe some changes coming, but I'm really excited about it. You know, I feel like, especially going into conversations for next year, I'm so much more confident knowing like the year that we've had, the team that we built, and kind of what we can actually do and execute on. So I'm really pumped, and I want to just level up everything in every single way going into 2026 for sure.
You about to put hours and hours on the sim this winter, huh?
Yes, like sim is such a huge thing, especially going into my first year in FD. The only track I'd even driven at before, and not in my Tom car, was E-Town. So I'd never driven Atlanta, St. Louis, or Utah, and I was kind of freaking out about it because in FD you don't have a lot of practice laps. And then if something happens to your car, you're maybe 5 laps in, and then if you're in seating, you're even in regular comp, you're expected to go in and be on a wall and be on someone's door with 5 laps. And with my year, I'm still learning the car too, right? So sim was so incredibly important. And it is my goal to be a sim girl. That is one of my new goals is to be on the sim every single day. I'm working with Sim Magic. I'm getting a setup in my apartment and at my new shop. And like my schedule is going to be working out after a workout, go on the sim for an hour, start my day. Like I think it's so incredibly important. And then we got all these sim kids coming for our jobs.
It's game changer, man.
Dude, coming for our seats. So like I gotta be a sim girl, and I'm dedicated. So.
Yeah. You said Sim Magic, right? Mm-hmm. What all do you know the setup exactly that you're gonna be getting? We're
kind of figuring out what I want to get right now.
Yeah.
I want to try their newest base, like wheelbase. I haven't tested it out yet.
The Evo, I think is what it's called.
I think there's a number after
Evo,
something. Yeah, they just launched a new one, and I haven't driven it yet. But I'm looking to also get into sports car racing in 2026. So
no way.
I want to make sure I have like a dual setup to go back and forth.
Nice.
Which I think I would just be changing the wheel out, but I'm really excited about that. I think sports car racing is something that obviously I started more on that side of things, and I don't ever want to lose that. You know, I want to compete in multiple disciplines and win in them all. So if I can get back into sports cars next year, that would be really amazing.
Yeah. Why haven't you been tempted on the rush racing stuff? I'm surprised that hasn't gravitated you.
Yeah, a few people have brought that up. Timing hasn't really worked out, and I haven't really talked to them about it. But I mean, that's great, you know, to get seat time back in. I think the last sports car race I raced for Hyundai in like 2022. I did an endurance race with them. Yeah, but I'd raced for Brian Herta back in the day in rallycross, and he hit me up for an endurance race, which was awesome. But I love it, and to me, it's a lot more straightforward than drifting is. So I'm really excited to kind of see with my gap years in sports car racing, how fast I can catch up, you know, and get back on pace. I know it's going to be a challenge. I don't think it's impossible, but with sports car racing, everything was so analytical. There's data for everything. And if I see something that someone else is doing, I'm like, he did it, I can do it. Like, he just did it, we're in the same car, I can do it, next lap out. In drifting, you don't have that. In drifting, there's a million ways to really do one lap depending on your car setup, your engine, your driving style. So you lose all of that. And honestly, that was one of the hardest things for me transitioning from traditional racing into drift, is that there's really not a playbook for it. It all depends on you, your car, and so many other factors. So yeah, I think drifting was one of the hardest motorsports that I've done, and I've done a lot.
Yeah.
So.
Would you say now going back into it though, you'd probably have an upper hand or an advantage just because you have the skill set of drifting?
I do. I do think now that I'm so comfortable in competing at a high level in drifting, that my sports car driving will be better. You know, if I reel in the drifting, right? So it's like, I think my confidence in car control and in scenarios that something maybe is going a little wrong, I'll be more confident and be able to drive out of. I think I'll find areas where I can push the car a little bit more and not be nervous of that slight oversteer that you feel, but you also can't go too far over that line and then you end up being slower. You know, but I think in general, drifting teaches you so much confidence and car control and having to be on top of it immediately. You know, in sports car racing, you have an hour of practice, lap after lap after lap. You can kind of work on this corner, then work on that corner. You know, like you can ease into it. And in drifting, you need to be on it lap one. There's someone on your door, lap one in practice. So I think that entire mental side of it has helped me a lot and will translate to anything that I do.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I two more questions for you.
Yeah.
I haven't asked these in a while on the podcast, but just best piece of advice you have for anyone, whether it's going to be running down the content rabbit hole or just getting into drifting?
I can do both of them if you
Sure.
want. You know, best advice if you want to get into drifting is keep it simple. Get a stock 350Z. Don't overbuild anything. You don't need anything crazy. And focus on seat time and not being cool. That will be my best advice. And I guess for getting into content or YouTube stuff, you know, make sure you're doing it because you love it. Like, it's a grind. It's not going to happen overnight. You know, even if, say, you get lucky and you have your first or third video go viral, it doesn't guarantee anything else after that. So as long as you're doing it because you love it, that's what's most important, because you're going to have no sleep. You're going to have to grind all the time. And if you don't love it, you're going to be miserable.
You barely
So,
eat all
yeah.
of it. It's so bad. That's good advice. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And then the last one, a little heavier, but if you had the opportunity to speak to the entire world, what would your one message be?
A quote that I wrote on my helmet and I always remind myself is that, you know, it's tough because 90% of things can go wrong, but at the end of the day, you can only control how you react to them. So if everyone is just focusing on themselves and not what's happening to them, you focus on your response to them, I think people will be a lot happier and feel a lot more in control of their own life. Because at the end of the day, if you're something bad happens to you and you let it get you down, you're not going to move forward. You know, no one else is responsible for you except yourself. So just believe in yourself and try the best you can every single day.
That's just the truth.
Yeah.
Straight up. I used to be in therapy in high school.
Yeah.
And that was one thing that was the main focus. Was it's almost like you put it on those old radios, how they have the dial meter?
Mm-hmm.
And you have positive on one side, negative on the other, da 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 da. He was like, what's the opposite of positive? And of course, naturally you say negative. Nope, that's wrong. Neutral is. So if you can neutralize every situation, you don't necessarily get happy about it, but you're never going to be upset about it.
Yep.
So it's always your interpretation of whatever is happening around you.
Yeah, I always say life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you react to it.
Yeah.
Every time.
Damn right.
And if you just go forward with that mindset, no matter what crazy stuff is happening, that's so true. At the end of the day, if you're gonna, take something, if something bad happens, process it. Allow yourself a certain time to be down, but then pick yourself back up and go for it. I think I've had to do that so many times that it gets easier every single time. And if that's always in the back of your mind, I think you'll always keep moving forward no matter what.
Awesome.
So.
Well, again, I really appreciate it. Thank you for making the time,
Yeah.
especially after dealing with the catastrophe this morning and yesterday and all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, really appreciate the time. You're always
Awesome.
welcome on. So
Thank you.
yeah, and let me know if we should do a more full episode, me come down to Florida, stuff like
Yeah.
that. So
I'm down. You can
Yeah?
do it when I'm in my new shop.
there you go. Yeah, no more controversy now.
Yeah, I'm
Let's
sure you'll
clarify.
find something. I'm sure you'll find something.
Oh yeah. Well, thanks.
Awesome, thank you.
Way up to the ceiling. Trust no bitch, can't catch no feelings. I've been taking long flights from the Bay to Ibiza. Hit home runs, I'm a ball like Jeter. I just want fuck, then I leave her. I'm a young pop star, call the boy Justin Bieber. Got a little money if you want, I can teach her. Whole life a movie, you can watch it in theater.